Namaste and welcome to Live, Love, Engage. I am Gloria Grace Rand, and today I've got a great guest who's going to be sharing with us all about the power of the voice and how we can use it more effectively. And she is coming to us from the other side of the world and the other side of time in a way, because her name is Cynthia Zhai, and she is from Singapore, and it is nighttime there as we're recording this. And for me, it's still the morning. But let me tell you a little bit about her. She is a voice coach, a professional speaker, best-selling author, and she's also been a TEDx speaker, which is awesome. And she has helped professionals from 46 countries across 6 continents to speak with a powerful voice. And she's been doing professional speaking and coaching for the last 18 years. And I am just really thrilled to have her here today to talk to us a little bit about how we can use our voice more effectively to engage authentically, which is part of what my program here is all about. So welcome, Cynthia, to Live, Love, Engage.
Thank you for having me, Gloria.
Well, I am thrilled to have you on. We were speaking before that. I had another speaking coach on the show several months back, and she dealt with the importance of content, which is also very important. Monderosa Igo, check it out. But Cynthia specializes more in the voice. So I wanted to ask you, what is it, well, maybe even just start with, what are some common voice problems that people come to you for, and that you can help them with?
Sure. So you're talking about the content.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest problems that people have when they came to me is a monotonous voice.
Mm.
So even though they had the content, but when they are delivering it, they realize their voice is boring. And some of my clients, they told me, I often put people into sleep.
That's not good.
No. So that's one of the biggest problems.
Yeah. And definitely I have been in presentations where I've unfortunately been with speakers who just have everything the same way, and that's all that they're talking, and it's all the same way, and it's like, oh my gosh, can you stop, please?
Yes.
What else would be some common voice problems that people have? I think I have an idea, and I may talk to you after you comment, because I know one that I've run into with speakers. So what other things do people come to you for?
So other things like they have a very soft voice, and when they're speaking, people always ask them to repeat themselves, like what I'm demonstrating right now.
Mm-hmm.
Or there is also another end, which is a very loud voice.
Mm.
And when they're speaking too loudly, they actually shut people off. So people appear to be agreeing, but they are actually rejecting whatever the speaker is talking about.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And that's, that can be a big problem in trying to communicate. Actually, let me ask you, what types of clients come to you? Are they people who are who are trying to use, who are like professional speakers, or are wanting to do it, or maybe even just trying to communicate better in their own jobs or businesses?
They are from a wide variety of background. Like people who are professional speakers. They want to be more engaging, more inspirational, more influential. They are also people, they work for companies. So they need to speak, not necessarily in presentations.
Right.
Some of them, they speak in meetings, and then they realize in meetings, whatever they say, it didn't land well.
Oh, yeah.
And there are also people who are entrepreneurs. They run their own businesses, and they need to speak even one-on-one to get business.
Right.
So it's all kinds of backgrounds, all kinds of industries.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I can imagine that you might even be in more demand now because of, we've been involved with this pandemic this year, that
Yes.
so many people are having to communicate online, and they are participating in like Zoom meetings, and they really maybe they might not have been as aware possibly of problems they had and how they need your services. Are you finding
Yes,
that at all?
that's right. You are spot on. So, because now they needed to be in meetings on Zoom all the time, and then they realized that they have problems. But the problem is that they already had that problem even before the pandemic.
Right.
It's just that now it's more obvious.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing the other problem that I've come across with listening to other people sometimes is that sometimes their voices, and well, this is for women, I would say in particular, is that sometimes they have very high pitched voices, and it can sound almost like they're a little girl. And
Yeah,
I've heard that sometimes, and it's like, oh, I wish they could, get some training to just be a little bit more,
mature.
yeah, to sound, because I'm sure they're probably already in their 30s maybe, but they still sound like they're a teenager or something.
Yes, yes.
Have you
Yeah,
run across that too?
yes. So in both men and women, and
Yeah.
they realize that they sound too young.
Mm,
So some of them, their voice pitches are too high.
mm,
So that's another type of problem.
mm. So how do you work with someone, or what is like maybe let's say maybe one of the most like one tip that could just about help anybody in dealing
Yeah.
with whatever type of voice problem they have? What's one, maybe one of the best tips you can give someone?
Um, the, the voice development will need a period of time to see the change.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not easy to give a tip that will work immediately.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
But they can develop a full voice
Mm,
for all these voice problems we are talking about, except monotone. The rest of the voice problems, they can solve that by developing their full voice,
mm.
which is a voice that's projected with the full body instead of voice just coming from the throat.
Ah, yeah, it's about breathing, isn't it?
So
Ultimately.
breathing is the fundamental step. After that, we will also need to learn how to use this proper breath to project their voice,
Mm,
which is to start to move their voice coming from what I also call the head voice to the
mhm,
body voice. So they need to learn that. And also after that, they need to learn how to develop more sound in the body,
mm,
which is resonance.
yeah. Um, Trying to think of how I want to say this. In 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 being able, one of the things, well, yeah, I would say one of the challenges I've had in the past, and probably still do a little bit, is I projecting your voice, because I know, like,
Mm-hmm.
in fact, like and this is back in college, I took acting class, and they always said that you needed to be able to, well, especially for like a live, not
Yes.
when you're doing video, but necessarily, but for a live performance, you want to be able to have your voice be heard in the back of the room. But
Yes.
for someone hearing that for the first time, it's like, okay, how? I mean,
Yeah.
what are like maybe some of the first steps that someone needs to know to be able to accomplish that? I guess,
Yes.
yeah.
So to accomplish that is a voice that has more volume,
Mm,
volume without pitch going up. Because
mm,
when your pitch goes up, it sounds like shouting.
mm,
And they really need to learn how to create more volume. And volume just means the amount of the sound, which is the amount of vibration. So we need to create more vibration in the body. And then it boils down to resonance.
mm. Okay.
And to develop resonance, again, they need to develop breathing. They need to develop so-called speaking from the diaphragm, which is
Mhm.
what I call projection.
Mm,
So breathing, projection, and resonance. When they develop these three steps, it will help them to project their voice without shouting
mm.
and be heard clearly.
Yeah. Because I think one of the problems sometimes is if you're not learning how to do this effectively, is that then you can wind up actually losing your voice.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Yeah.
Because they tend to shout. When you're shouting, you are using more of your throat voice box.
Mm.
It will be damaging to your vocal cords.
Mm. So I imagine it does take some time because, as we say, it's not anything that can be really fixed overnight. Even though that'd be lovely, we always want to have things quick fixes.
Yes.
So, how long do you typically work with a client to help them? Let's say that they want to be able to just start projecting maybe louder and
Yes.
being able to
Yes.
talk louder. How?
So for all the 3 steps to become a habit, so every step needs to become a habit.
Mm.
And each step will take about 1.5 to 2.5 months.
Mm.
So the entire process can take about 6 to 9 months.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yes.
Because you've got to have time to, as you say, not only practice, but it's also ingraining a habit, and that does take
Yes.
time.
Yes.
And it's like anything else. I think I've been a singer and musician, and your voice is essentially an instrument, so you've got to
Yes.
practice, don't
Yeah.
you?
That's right. It is to retrain your body.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. What are well, actually, here, maybe what does an authoritative voice sound like? How does that sound um,
Uh,
for someone who's wanting to
so
be, project that? Yeah.
sure. So there are some researches people have done that they realize people associate authority with a deeper voice.
Hmm.
And so that's why a lot of people coming to me, they said, I want to develop a deep voice.
Oh.
And sometimes in order to sound deeper, I purposely lower my voice so I sound deeper.
Oh.
And so I asked some of my clients, okay, you're purposely lowering your voice. How long did it take? How long did it last? There's one guy, he said, lasted 10 to 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So that's already very long. And that's the wrong way.
Hmm.
So we actually don't develop a deep voice. We develop a full voice. When you develop a full voice for the majority of the population, the voice will go deeper automatically.
Hmm.
And even better that when you develop a full voice, not only that your voice quality will become fuller, deeper, and but also that you will find you will feel more confident, a
Hmm.
deeper level of confidence.
Hmm. That's so interesting. You're like reading my mind, because I was just going to say, like I know we've been kind of talking about this, but it's like, really, what is the benefit to
Yes.
someone to really work on the voice? So what other benefits do you think are there besides having more confidence? Because I definitely know that's an excellent one
Yes.
to have.
So the deepest level for voice development is to get reconnected with yourself. So you see nowadays that most people, probably a lot of people, 90% of the population is not fulfilled.
Mm.
And they thought that maybe to get more fulfilled, I need to get a bigger house, a better car, more money.
Mm-hmm.
But just to realize that more money will not make you more fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
And what we really want is to get more connected with yourself. And voice is one of the channels to help you get more connected with yourself. Because when we are developing a full voice, we are connecting with our body. And when you are speaking with a head voice, you are cutting off inside of your body. So you are literally cutting off from the head up with the head down.
Right.
And when we're developing your full voice, you are getting reconnected.
Oh.
So that's the deepest level of the benefit.
I love that. It really is about being connected to who you are. And you're right. You've got to, our heart is here down, down below our lungs, or right next to our lungs. And that is, when we're speaking from the heart, that is going to be more powerful, because that's the truth of who we are. So I love that. I never really thought about it that way, especially that difference of, the head voice versus, it really is a spiritual element to it. That is so cool.
Yes.
I wanted to maybe just shift gears a little bit, because I'm curious, as someone who has aspirations maybe one day of being on the TED stage. That's one of the things that you have accomplished in your life. You were a TEDx speaker. Mm-hmm. So how did that come about for you? And what was your topic?
The topic was the transformational power of your voice. And the deepest level of benefit we just talked about is one of the transformational powers. And so, because I always believed this message, and that's why I believed that it was TEDx worthy, or even TED worthy. And so I was opening my eyes, opening my ears whenever there's an opportunity. So I would grab it. And so when I saw that opportunity, and I applied, and fortunately, they accepted it.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, that's a good lesson, and I know I've talked to that. I think on the show here, and even with my own clients as well, is being aware of opportunities, keeping your eyes open for them. That's so important, because otherwise, if you're not paying attention, that stuff is going to pass you by. So good for you for paying attention and taking advantage of that. Is there anything else that you think is important that our listeners and viewers should know about either why it's important to develop a voice, or any other thing about that they should know about their voice?
Yeah. So I think one thing we've talked about is that when we're developing the voice, it is a channel to help you get more connected with yourself. You will become more fulfilled. And then the other thing, we also talked about authority. So authority in the voice. And there is another A, which is authenticity in the voice. So when we are developing the full voice, it is not only helping you to become more confident at a deeper level, and in a way, it also becomes more authoritative. But at the same time, it is also more authentic. So you are more with yourself. You are comfortable with who you are. You are not afraid of sharing with other people who you are. And there's another thing about voice is the color of the voice, which is the emotion of the voice. And when we are speaking, for example, the monotone, some of my clients, before they worked with me, they try to vary their tones, vary their pitch, volume levels, just to realize that they feel weird. And I said, if you speak in that way, weird, then whoever is listening to you is also going to feel weird.
That's true.
So instead, we don't want to work on the techniques. We want to work on how you authentically feel about what you're saying. So instead of developing the techniques, we develop how you feel, the emotion in your voice. So when you are able to do that, you will sound authoritative and authentic.
That's really good. Yeah. And that makes so much sense. The other thing that was just occurring to me too is there a difference in speaking like we're doing, speaking on Zoom, speaking on camera versus speaking in person? What should people know about maybe using their voice differently in this context?
One of the biggest
maybe there isn't, I don't know.
Okay, it's just people's experience is different, because sometimes that they will say that, oh, the person is not in front of me, or even worse, is only themselves talking to a camera.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So if only themselves talking to a camera, they said, I don't know how to talk anymore. There's no one.
Right.
I said, you can look at the camera and see the camera as someone's eyes, and you're talking to that one person. So even if you are talking to a large audience, let's say 1,000 people, it's the same. You are imagining you're talking to one person. So that's how you engage with the audience well. You're talking to one person, even though it is 1,000 people out there. So that's, people need to adjust their own mindset, their perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and I'm active on social media. And a lot of times I see people, they're very nervous about doing a Facebook Live, for instance, even though they know it's like, oh, this would probably be good for my business, but they're very uncomfortable about being on camera. And I think what you just said is good, is to just imagine that they're talking to one person, and that it's not a camera. if they can and just imagine that they're talking to their best friend, I think it could be a lot better off. Is there any other tips that you have for people who are wanting to do videos? Anything else besides that you can think of?
So for example, you were saying that people doing Facebook live stream because it's good for their business. No, that's the wrong point to start with. Okay. So you're not just doing live streaming because it's good for your business. You're doing live streaming because your message can benefit more people. So I was in an association as a mentor, mentoring the entrepreneurs as well. Okay. And so they were saying that, no, I'm not ready yet. My message needs to be honed, and this needs to be done. That needs to be done. I said, now someone is drowning. And then you are saying, wait, let me hone my swimming skills, and then I'll come back to save you.
Yeah.
So there are people out there waiting for you to be saved. So you have to get your message out. You don't need to look good. Don't need to look so good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because that's right. Because there are people out there who need whatever it is that you are selling, whatever, products or services, and they're just waiting for you to talk to them about it, because you've got that solution. So, yeah, I guess it's get over yourself and focus in on them, right?
Yes,
focus
that's right.
on their needs.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Focus on them.
Yeah. This. Trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to ask you about, but if this has been awesome, because I've really gotten a lot of good instruction and from you. Oh, one other thing I want to ask you about, because I did talk with someone, this was years ago, that, and I'm just curious to know your opinion. So for instance, I'm doing this podcast. I know I'm sitting down, but I heard that, of course, standing up is probably better, because you've got more, I guess, breath control or something. Is it better for speaking? So what is your opinion on that? Is it okay for me to sit?
Yes,
I guess
it is okay for you to sit. It is okay for you to sit. Because especially on Zoom calls, I would rather to sit down instead of standing up.
Yeah.
So the key is to be relaxed. And the best voice comes from the most relaxed body.
Ah, okay.
So when you are standing up, sometimes maybe you become more rigid, which is actually not good for your voice.
Right.
So when you are sitting, as long as you feel more relaxed, as long as you're not collapsing like this, so as long as you're relaxed, it will be good for your voice.
Okay. Well, I feel better about that now. So good. Thank you.
Yes.
And for those of you out there who might be wondering about that too. So, well, good. Yeah. See, I knew there's a reason. One of many that I wanted you on today. So you do work with people then from all over the world. So obviously you and I think even before the pandemic, then you are able to work with people virtually. Is that typically?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And do you do just one-on-one, or do you ever do any kind of group work, or how does it work?
I do both. Yes. So I do one-on-one and also group. So the group coaching, we have students from all over the world, different continents.
Oh, wow. So what language, how does that work with
So the, the language is English.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that would be a little, have your own United Nations there, it'd be a little challenging. But that's good. Well,
but I am learning a third language.
Are you? Oh, okay. What are you learning right now?
I'm learning French.
Oh, good for you. And what's the other language that, well, I guess it's
Chinese, Mandarin.
Chinese was your main language? Okay.
Yes.
Well, good for you. Well, I'm in the process of learning Hungarian myself. So that's okay. I learned Spanish a little bit in school, but still not enough to be proficient. So now I'm attempting Hungarian because that's where my grandparents were from. So
I suppose it's close to German, the language.
No, it's actually closer to Finnish. It's a really hard language. It's very, very challenging. But
that's interesting.
But at least I think because I grew up hearing it, it's been at least a little bit easier than I think if I didn't hear it at all, then I'd be totally probably lost. But I still, there are certain phrases and words I'll be like, oh yeah, I think I remember my mother saying that or something. And so it's been kind of cool. Yeah. I do think it's extremely beneficial to learn more languages, and I wish I'd done it when I was a kid because it would have been a lot easier.
Never too late.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It keeps my brain working, and I need to do that. So, I know what I was going to ask you. So, where can people learn more if they find out maybe they want to be able to work with you and get some help with their voice? What's the best place for them to find you?
So there are two places. One is they can go to my YouTube channel. And on my YouTube channel, there are over 150 videos.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And so right now we have 40K subscribers. So they are welcome to become one of the next.
All right, excellent.
And so they can just go to YouTube and search Cynthia Voice Coach. They should be able to find my channel.
All right, excellent.
And the second place is my website. So they can actually find that website link on my YouTube channel. So save them time and work.
Very good, very good. Yeah. And I'll have it in the show notes as well, though. Sure. So make it easy too. But that's excellent. Yeah. So definitely make sure to check that out. Definitely go to the YouTube channel. So that's awesome that you got a lot of information there. I will probably go in and check some out myself because one of the things is there's always something new to learn, and I always room for improvement. I know that. So I'll be looking forward to learning more from you.
Learning. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here. And I appreciate you taking time out of your evening to share some words of wisdom with us. And I think it's been great. So I appreciate you very much.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Well, and for the rest of you out there, I also appreciate you very much for listening and for watching on YouTube as well. And I also just a quick reminder to get all the information about the podcast and to watch our other episodes, you can go to liveloveengagepodcast.com, and that's where you'll be able to find everything. And until next time, as always, I encourage you to go out and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.